Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Yes, we are back today. We are talking about sewing 8 secrets that seamstresses actually want you to know. You probably don't know them, especially if you're a newbie, but you should know them because they're going to help elevate your sewing up to that next level. So let's get into the first one. Just because we can sew all of our clothes, it doesn't mean we want to. So when we first come into sewing, we see social media, we start following accounts, we start watching YouTube videos, we absorb all of this information. But it's not only the information about actually sewing that we absorb, it's also the information around that, whether that's morals, if you like. I know when I first came into this niche, I was surrounded by people in social media who were very proud to be sewing every single thing they wear, and they would refuse to buy any shop-made clothes. Now, I understand this because shop-made clothes are poor in comparison to what we can make. We can make bespoke clothes. So what happens is we're excited to learn to sew. We're following these accounts and they're all gung-ho about sewing everything, and you feel like you have to sew everything, and you do, until you end up burning out. And then what happens is you take a step back and you realise you don't actually have to sew everything. For myself, initially I was sewing everything. In the end, I stopped sewing bras and panties and leggings. They're the 3 things I'm not going to sew those. It's just not worth my while. By the time I've bought the fabric, it's more expensive than the garment, for one thing. Bras and undies are really fiddly, and leggings are not as easy as they make them out to be. But I can do them. I just don't want to. So my piece of wisdom, if you're new to sewing, is to not feel under any pressure to sew absolutely everything if you don't want to. Maybe you're going out and you want to buy a dress and don't feel bad about it. It's just that you've got to do what works for you. And while others might like to sew everything that they wear, that's right for them. So just be individual. We come to sewing to be individual. So let's keep our practices, our opinions individual as well. So having the ability to sew doesn't mean I will alter your clothes for cheap or even for free. This is a big one, isn't it? If you've been sewing for a while, you're going to know what I'm talking about here. When we learn to sew, we're so excited. We make a garment. We can't believe we made an actual garment. We wear it. Someone says, oh, that's a lovely outfit. Where did you get it? And you're like, oh, I made it. You're full of pride. You can't wait to tell people around you that you made your own clothes. And they look at you and go, oh my God, you must be a genius. Only geniuses can make clothes. Do you know what? I've got these leggings, I've got these denims at home, and they really sag in the back, and the pants part, just like the bottom is like hanging, so I don't wear them, but they were really expensive. Would you mind just altering them for me, because you're so good at it? You're so good. The answer can be no. We may feel, especially in the beginning when we're super excited and proud to be sewing, we might want to do lots of favours to lots of people. But I promise you that is going to get old really fast. So instead of saying yes to things that you don't want to say yes to, say thank you for the opportunity, but I'm going to pass on that. You may see some resistance, but you can signpost people to the nearest tailor that they can pay for if they want to. Over the years, I've taken a really hard line on this because people will take advantage. So you might be a genius because you can sew, but geniuses need rest as well. Sewing and buying stuff are 2 separate hobbies. Now, when we start sewing, we want to do some lovely, beautiful projects. We find a project we love, we buy the pattern, we buy the fabric, we buy the notions that we need, maybe a zip, buttons, whatever. And then it sits there because we haven't got time to do it. Then by the time it comes around to wanting to do it, we've gone off that idea. We find another pattern, other fabrics, and before we know it, we're collecting and collecting and collecting, and it gets overwhelming. I've spoken at length about this. I've talked about decluttering all of my sewing things. I've talked about the fact that I bought so much that I didn't need to buy. And you can see this video where I talk about the things I didn't need that I bought, and the things here that I bought were really, really bloody handy. So check those videos out. I think as we come into sewing, it is really important to be mindful about the behaviours that we're exhibiting, because what we're going to do is spend lots of money that we didn't have. When I was first into sewing, and I've spoken about this before, I was buying all the patterns, all the fabrics, because I knew, because I have chronic illness, that at some point I would need to give up work. And I thought, if I've got all this stash, I will not run out. Well, the problem with that is, over time, I didn't like the stash anymore. The fabrics were not my taste, because tastes change, we evolve as people. And a lot of it went to waste, got used as twirls, it got sent to the charity shop. I sold a few bits, but you don't make as much back as you purchased it for. Now, what I wish I'd done is got the money from that and put that into a bank account so that I could have the money when I needed a new project. And that way, I'm not doing two different hobbies, because we do try to justify it, don't we? We justify it that it is part of sewing, and sewing is what we do for pleasure. Here's your cue to stop justifying that, because it is not part of sewing. You can sew so cheaply. You can use bed sheets. You do not need to buy £30 a metre fabric that is going to sit on your shelf and never get used. Take that as a little bit of wisdom, because I'm going to save you so much money from doing that. Not only money, but time and effort, because stashes and collections take time to put together, to look after and to sort out. Your home is not a storage solution. It is a home that should be enjoyed, so keep that in mind. If we're not excited about a project, it's never getting finished. This is a big secret, open secret. We all do it, don't we? So it's not really a secret, but it should be. As I said in the last point, we get super excited by the idea of a new project. We see some influencer wearing it and it looks absolutely amazing on them because they've got the best figure in the whole world. We're just like, we'll buy that pattern, we'll buy that fabric. It's so exciting. As I mentioned, we don't have time. We pull it aside for now. And when we do get time, the motivation is gone, the love is gone, the dopamine hit is gone. And so we cast it aside, as I said before, and we never, ever finish it. So when I decluttered a couple of years ago, I had a big basket, which was a whip pile, and it had lots of projects, some of the projects from 2015-16, and in it were some projects that I was absolutely gung-ho about at the time, but over the years it just did not get finished. I think the dopamine hit is the thing that really gets us going with a project, and the dopamine hit is the thing that wanes away really quickly. My advice to you is, when you're picking your projects that you're excited about, pick a project that is not going to take forever to make. Pick a project that when you decide you want to do it, you've got time to do it and you're going to get it finished, because I promise you, if you leave it to one side, then it's never ever going to get finished. If you're enjoying this video and you'd like to see more like it, do hit that subscribe button, click the like button down below, because that really helps me, along with a comment. Let me know what your top secret is that we should all know, because that will be helpful to others who are reading it. By the way, I have an affiliate link for Audible down below. I'm not sponsored by them, they haven't paid me or anything. It's just an affiliate link, which means I'll get a little pushback. So if you would like a free audiobook, see the details down below. and because you can get the audiobook and then you can cancel a subscription and you're not paying anything. So check that out. Let's get back to the next point. So the next secret that seamstresses want us to know is that we have a different pair of scissors for every little job. And we do, don't we? Some of us maybe not, we just use 1 or 2 pairs. But if we're really serious about sewing, then we will have scissors for everything. I've got a main pair of dressmaking shears. I've got a secondary pair of dressmaking shears. I've got snips. I've got duckbill scissors. I've got pinking shears. The list is on and on because they all do different jobs. And if we want to do sewing really, really well, then we need to do the individual techniques and jobs really well as well. You might think, if you're new to it, do I really need 6 pairs of scissors? No, you don't. In the beginning, you certainly don't. You just need a good pair of shears and a good pair of snips. But as you go on, you're going to want to try different things. You're going to collect scissors. You're going to use them for all the things. And don't let anyone tell you that you can't use them. Also, you need scissors for paper and fabric. Do not mix the two because you will blunt your shears. So that is a lesson many of us have learnt the hard way. And also, don't let your family members use scissors. Have some kitchen scissors available at all times and hide your professional scissors if you need to, because there might be a divorce otherwise. There's no other way to put it. So the next seamstress secret is that there's the professional way to do something and then there's our way, which is usually a shortcut. So when we're learning, I think we learn in 2 different ways. Some of us go the professional route, maybe take classes or even watch YouTube videos by professional seamstresses and tailors. Others just like to watch YouTubers like me and other people where we're just teaching what we know, which isn't necessarily the right thing to teach. And so we might pick up bad habits. So you've got 2 schools of thought here, which is best, because it really, really depends. I would probably argue you want to mix and match the 2, because if you're going down the professional route, you are going to learn how to do things properly. You're going to get the best results you possibly can. But sometimes the best results, the best techniques are really, really long-winded and they're unnecessary. And so as we learn and progress and gain experience in sewing, then we can sort of adopt our bad habits if you want. If you want to call them bad habits, you can, but just adopting quicker ways of doing things that do not take half a day to do. One thing I noticed in the comments section that's been going on over years and years is if someone like me would show a technique, there'll be people in the comments saying that's not correct, you need to do it this way. And that is not correct. There are many, many ways to do every single technique out there. No one way is more right than the other. We don't learn the same way, all of us. Some of us are visual, some of us like to read stuff, for example. That's just one way in which we're different, but we can absorb information in a different way. And so a shortcut or a different way of doing something might work for one and not the other. So just bear that in mind, that there is no right and wrong in sewing, really. There's only trial and error. So the next thing seamstresses want us to know is that if a pattern says 6 hours to make, you cannot make it in 2 hours. This is the thing, isn't it? It's Friday morning, we're thinking, we've got an event to go to tonight, I need a dress. Nothing in my wardrobe is fitting me right, I'm going to make a dress. And then you think, right, I'll go to work, I'll come back, I've got 2 hours, I can make it. And then you can't. Even if you can get it done in that time, you are going to be rushing it, you're going to be making loads and loads of mistakes, you're going to be fixing those mistakes, it's just going to be a nightmare, and you're going to put yourself under so much stress that it's completely unnecessary. So if you are going to sew something for an event, give yourself a couple of days at least in order to get it done. so you don't end up in hospital with stress, really. So the next secret is that anything that our sewing machine can do, or our hands, we are buying an unnecessary expensive gadget for. Leave me a comment down below and let me know if this is you. I've been there. I've bought lots of expensive gadgets, most of which I do not use. And to be honest, we just don't need them. For example, the you know, the thingy, the button holder thing. I didn't buy that. That was gifted to me. I actually won that in a giveaway. But it is expensive. It's like 20 something pounds. And all it is a buttonhole placer. And I've used it twice, maybe 3 times. And that's probably for demonstration purposes. That is just one example where we can just do it with our hands. We can do it manually, and actually when we do stuff manually, we're going to have a much better result in the end, I think. Maybe not in every case, but in the majority of cases. If we are taking the time to actually be accurate, get things done in a very specific manner, it's gonna pay off in the end. And you know what? We're going to save money by not buying these gadgets. Some gadgets are worth it. There are gadgets that are worth it. For example, the bias tape maker, the little things that you put the bias tape through. I think that's really worth it because it saves hours and hours of time by doing stuff manually. Do you really need gadgets? Even machines that do one thing. I used to have a cover stitch machine that just did a cover stitch. And I never ever got the full benefit out of it. It was a £500 machine that I used a handful of times. I ended up selling it because I just didn't use it enough. Let me know down below, what is the most expensive gadget or machine or thing that you've bought that you found was completely unnecessary? Let me know. Check out this video here, because it's going to give you lots and lots of information and inspiration for your next sewing project. And I will catch you back here soon. I'm hoping to be a lot more regular on this channel now. So do subscribe and I will see you soon. Bye.